Arsenal take on Manchester City this weekend in what could be a season-defining matchup. It's the best defense in the league against the best striker in the world. But who will come out on top? Let's dive into my 3 keys in the match that could decide this intense clash. Plus, at the end of this video, I'll share my combined 11 as well as my score prediction, so stick around for that as well. Our first key of the match is the best defense versus the best striker. We've already mentioned it earlier in the intro. First, let's talk about Arsenal's defense versus Erling Haaland. Arsenal have only conceded 1 goal so far this season, and that was while they were a man down against Brighton, a game that ended 1-1. Saliba, Gabriel, and Ben White have been nearly impenetrable, with Jurrien Timber coming into the mix as well. Combining pace, power, tactical discipline, this team has only allowed just under 3 post-shot expected goals, 2.1 post-shot expected goals, a key that has helped David Raya maintain his unbelievable form going into the beginning of this season. This defensive line of Arsenal will it be the key in stopping Erling Haaland. Last season, City couldn't score against Arsenal in their head-to-head matchups. The only goal between the two teams was a deflected strike from Martinelli. However, this season is different. Erling Haaland is in unreal form. The Norwegian has already netted more goals than the entire Arsenal squad combined. Haaland's movement off the ball is something Arsenal have to deal with for 90 minutes, something that Saliba has done an excellent job in previous matchups handling. Saliba has done so through aerial duels, ground duels, being able to handle him physically, pace. He hasn't been able to outpace Saliba in their matchups. If Erling Haaland wants to find the back of the net, it's going to take opportunities, maybe unconventional opportunities than he is used to. It'll be very interesting to see what Pep has in store for him, how they plan to get some space, some opportunities for Erling Haaland to put shots on net. But in the meantime, it'll be very interesting. I think that this is going to be a very tight clash in defense. I'm going to be interested to see with a healthy defense how Arsenal handle it. When you've had a healthy backline of Saliba and Gabriel, Erling Haaland is yet to score against Arsenal when they're playing a healthy backline. Obviously, last year, 2 years ago, we saw Erling Haaland score with Rob Holding at the back, and that's a situation that was very unfortunate for Arsenal. But with Saliba and Gabriel, they have been almost impenetrable by Manchester City. I think it's going to be pretty obvious how Arsenal set up in defense. Raya in net. We're going to see Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and then probably Timber. I don't see Calafiori, obviously coming off an injury from international break. It would be silly to make his first start at left back against Manchester City, in my opinion. But let me know what you think. Do you think Arsenal start with the same back four? Do you think that Calafiori gets his start? Do you think that maybe something else happens? I doubt that they're going to change Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. I think the only thing that could potentially change is Calafiori, which again, I think is extremely unlikely. But if you think differently, let me know in the comment section down below. Now onto the midfield. This is where the game will be won or lost by either side. On one side, we've got Rodri, arguably a Ballon d'Or contender. He could be the best. I think he is probably one of the best players in the world right now. He's back. Last year, he faced a suspension against Arsenal and missed that game, the one that Arsenal won 1-0, and then he was active in the 0-0 draw against Arsenal. However, he has taken a little bit of a break at the beginning of the season, obviously coming in from the Euros, had a few games off, comes in against Brentford as a substitute, and played the full 90 against Inter Milan. Rodri's role will be pivotal in dictating City's tempo and stopping Arsenal's transitional play. As you recall, last time Arsenal beat Manchester City at the first time they played last season, it was a break. It was a fast break. It was a transitional play where Martinelli caught the ball on the over the top, ran through the defense, and cut in, hit a shot, and it was deflected and went into the back of the net. Then on the other side, you have Declan Rice, who missed last match against Tottenham due to suspension. Arsenal will be obviously hoping his ability to break up play and progress the ball will be key in countering City's high press. Arsenal will struggle to build from the back against a very, very solid and disciplined Manchester City team. I'll be interested to see how Declan Rice does handling that pressure. However, if Rodri is able to control possession and keep Rice out of the game, Arsenal will struggle to build from the back. Both teams rely on their midfield engines, and their matchup between Rodri and Rice is going to be unbelievably important to this match. Who do you think gets the edge in midfield? Do you think it's going to be Rodri, Gundogan, and whoever else plays in that De Bruyne role? It could be a player like Kovacic. It could be a player like a Phil Foden coming back into the midfield. Obviously, he missed a few matches as well. And who do you think plays in the Odegaard role? Do you think Kai Havertz comes deep? Do you think Trossard plays central? Do you think Martinelli starts on the left? Do you even see Sterling starting on the left? Let me know how you think both teams are going to line up, because we still don't know a lot about that left wing situation at Arsenal. And with the missing player such as Odegaard, who's going to make up that creative positioning for Arsenal? Lastly, let's talk about tactical setup. Our last season, Arsenal got the results they needed in head-to-heads against City. They got a win at home, a draw on the road, but Pep Guardiola still managed to lead City to another Premier League title. The question is, will Arsenal be able to set up in the same way this season? Obviously, we've seen at the beginning of this season, Pep's changed up his tactics slightly. Will that affect Arsenal? Will Arsenal be able to play right through that? It'll be very interesting to see, and I think that's going to be a very important matchup, key as we see on Sunday. Arteta has made Arsenal incredibly versatile, whether it's through the center, on the wings, able to switch between a back four and invert fullbacks into a back three mid-game. That flexibility might be key against City's unpredictable attack. Will he stick to the usual high-pressing, possession-based style, or will we see Arsenal drop deeper, similar to what they did against Tottenham when they were missing a Declan Rice? On the other side, we all know Pep, as I've mentioned, has already changed his tactics this season. Will he have something up his sleeve? We've seen City go with a more inverted fullback setting in previous seasons. It looks like his fullbacks are playing more wide this season with a player like Jack Grealish more centrally. We've seen Gvardiol stepping into the midfield. We've seen Stones step into the midfield. Who's going to step into the midfield against Arsenal? And will it be enough to overwhelm that Arsenal midfield? Now we're going to skip on to our combined 11. I've already talked about him just a little bit. David Raya, I think it's going to be extremely important to Arsenal. Just one goal conceded. He's faced 2.1 post-shot expected goals to Ederson's 3.3. Ederson's conceded 3. Raya's conceded 1, so he's got the better post-shot expected goals. Performances, however, the question you have to ask yourself is the ball playing of Ederson going to be able to catch Arsenal out? He's got an assist this season. David Raya actually, in their most recent matchup of the season, if I can pull up who that was against, Ederson picked up an assist. So, yes, against Brentford, 2-1 victory. They picked in the second goal, he assisted Erling Haaland. Could they try to catch Arsenal out by drawing them up the field and then sending Haaland through on goal with an Ederson long ball? It'll be very interesting to see what that looks like, but I do think David Raya just edges it this time for me. Raya's already made save of the month for one of his saves this month. He's been unreal for Arsenal to start this season. I think he edges it just for now. In the right back spot, we've seen a lot of Rico Lewis tucking into the midfield, playing as more of a midfielder than a defender, as well as we've seen no sign of Kyle Walker, which is why Ben White, his ability to defend 1v1 and also push forward to support an attacker like Bukayo Saka. It'll be interesting to see what happens with a Jack Grealish or a Savinho or Doku, whoever plays on that left side for City. Is it going to cause Ben White to have to sit back a little further and he's not able to support a player like Saka? I'm not sure, but I do think he is just invaluable to that Arsenal squad. I don't think there's a right back that gets into Arsenal's team ahead of him. That's including players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is an unreal player. I just don't think he would fit into Arsenal's system quite like Ben White does. Again, center backs, I've got to go Gabriel and Saliba. The duo has been immense for Arsenal. I really did struggle to keep Gabriel. Looking at the center backs of City, they're playing with a back three a lot more this year. They did that against Inter with Gvardiol, Ruben Diaz, and I believe it was Akanji as well as their back three. I just think that partnership, you have to realize they're physical, they're fast, they're intelligent, and they've only conceded 1 goal this year, and that's why I'm going with Saliba and Gabriel as my picks. This could all change. Obviously, I'm basing this on Wednesday, September 18th before the match. So obviously Arsenal haven't even played against Atalanta thus far. Also, I want to note that this team is not based on injuries. So there is an injured player. It's going to be out just because I didn't want to not include De Bruyne because he is injured, so I wanted to just include all players if everyone was fit. Now we've got one of City's newest additions in their starting 11. Obviously, Savinho is one of them, but also from last season, the most expensive defender, I think, of all time, Gvardiol. He's just a real solid defensive player and a very creative attacking outlet. Much better moving the ball forward than I thought he would be when he first signed for Manchester City. His versatility has been key, and that's exactly why I've picked him as left back. Obviously, Timber's been unreal this season. Calafiori, we haven't seen much of. Zinchenko just was not an option for me as well. So I just had to go with Gvardiol just because I've seen him do it a lot longer than I've seen Timber do it. My midfield three starts with the base of midfield. I've got Rodri. Obviously, I think Rodri's an unreal player. I think we've seen moments where Rice could get, if Rice is on his day, could get the best of Rodri in this matchup. I don't think that means that he's the better player. So I'm going to go with Rodri at the base of my midfield. I decided to play with 2 8s or 2 10s, whatever you want to call it. Both these players have kind of played as dual 8s in their time at Arsenal and Manchester City, respectively. I'm going with Odegaard and De Bruyne. So 2 players that may not even be featuring in this match. Creativity, being the links between midfield, defense, and attack. De Bruyne and Odegaard do just that. They're probably the 2 best midfielders in the league, in my opinion. You could make cases for obviously players like Bruno Fernandes. You could make places, maybe a call for McAllister, players like that. But I do think that Odegaard and De Bruyne are a level above personally. That's my midfield 3, Rodri, Odegaard, and De Bruyne. So just kind of a recap. We've got David Raya, Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel, Gvardiol, Rice, Odegaard, De Bruyne. So we've got 3 City players and I believe 1, 2, 3, 4 Arsenal players. So finally, our last bit of the attack, we've got our front 3. Coming off the right, it has to be Bukayo Saka. Arsenal talisman is unplayable on his day. Unplayable almost any day. He averages like a 7.5 rating. Let me see what he's averaging in the Premier League this season. He's got a 7.83 rating. He's got 4 starts, 1 goal, 4 assists. I think he's leading the league in assists currently. If I'm not mistaken, there may be 1 player that's competing with him right now. If we go to the assist column. Nope. Excuse me. Cole Palmer's also on 4 assists, but Saka's just a level above a lot of the competition, and he's a level above any Manchester City right winger. Now, an interesting pick here because Phil Foden hasn't featured much. We haven't seen much from Arsenal's left wingers. Trossard's obviously got an assist a goal this season. So we could have talked about him. Martinelli's not looked great. City's played with quite a few players on the left, so it's a little difficult to make that call. But I just have to pick Jack Grealish. I think his ability to draw defenders, win fouls in dangerous positions, it's just vital for City. I think his creativity, his ability on the ball, and as I mentioned, win fouls has just been so crucial to them on the left wing. He hasn't picked up a goal or assist this season, but if you go watch the highlights of this Manchester City versus Inter game, there arguably could have been quite a few more cards on Inter's side based on the fouls that were drawn by Jack Grealish, and his ability on the ball, I think, is unreal. And I think it's extremely underrated. I think people put the price tag on him too much. I think as a player, he's underrated. I think with the price tag, he's overrated. So that's kind of a situation that is unfortunate for Jack Grealish because I think he's a very talented player, and that's why he's going into my Manchester City versus Arsenal combined 11. And of course, up front, it's Kai Havertz. Just kidding. Obviously, Erling Haaland's 9 goals in 4 games. He's just an unbelievable player. There's really not much else to say. He's going to win the Golden Boot with ease, and it's not really going to be any competition. Mo Salah currently on 3, Mbeumo on 3, Diaz on 3, Madueke and Visa and Durand all on 3. Goals, just nobody else is going to compete with him, let's be real. So let me know what you think of that combined 11. Do you agree or disagree? Now it's time for my score prediction. This is going to be a tough game. Both teams are in top level form. Arsenal obviously drawn 1 game. City have won all 4 of their matches. This game being played at the Etihad makes it a very difficult challenge for Arsenal. Arsenal's defense is going to put an unreal fight up. Haaland is in the kind of form he's in. It is so challenging, but I am going to predict a 1-1 draw. I think Erling Haaland will get the best of Arsenal just for a glimpse, just for a moment, and they will get a goal, Erling Haaland. But I do see a late cross into the box by Bukayo Saka that's going to find the head of Kai Havertz for a 1-1 draw. Arsenal will grab their goal late on a counterattack or a set piece. Not quite sure what it will be yet. Let me know below what you think the score will be. It's very difficult to predict these games, such tight margins. But I do think those 3 keys I mentioned will be crucial in this match. So again, leave a comment down below with those few questions I've asked. And if you enjoyed any of this and you want to see more analysis, we're going to do a post-match video that'll come out on Tuesday to talk about the match. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.